Polling indicates that Biden was in fact harmed by his disastrous debate performance, but it's not just about how Biden is performing in the polling, it's also about how him deciding to remain in the race is hurting Democrats down ballot. So we're gonna show you some of the results as reported by Harry Enton. First, I wanna start off with Harry Enton kind of pushing back against the notion that the polling has consistently underestimated Joe Biden, that Joe Biden's actually performing much better. And in fact, even back in 2020, he was performing way better than the polling had indicated. Well, here's Harry Enton pouring cold water on that notion.
Right now, Donald Trump leads in an aggregate of national polls by about 3 percentage points. If you go back 4 years ago at this point, Joe Biden was ahead by 9 points. This right now don't look anything like what we saw 4 years ago at this point. I then decided to take it a step further. What was Biden's worst 2020 polling position? He was ahead by 4 points, which basically matched what he ended up beating Donald Trump by in the national popular vote. So this 3-point advantage for Donald Trump is Donald Trump's best position versus Joe Biden, whether you include the polls this year or you include the polls last cycle. The idea that the polls underestimated Joe Biden last time around, simply put, does not hold any water.
I think it's important to have that historical context and to do that comparative analysis, because it helps you stay tethered to reality and it helps you understand what a risk the Democratic Party is taking and what a risk Biden is taking by remaining in the race. And by the way, Cenk, so that had to do with the national polling. We all know that nationally, the Democratic candidate needs to beat their opponent by at least 5 points in order to win the Electoral College. So explain that a little more. You've done it before. I know that you're probably tired of repeating it, but it's important to know. Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
Yeah, it's okay. And actually, I'm very frustrated that not every anchor is saying that. You have to say it every time, otherwise people get a completely skewed view of the race. So Joe Biden last time did win by 4.5 points. The polling was correct. I thought he would win even more comfortably, but I was dismayed to see that when it came to the Electoral College, even though he won the popular vote by 7 million votes, in the Electoral College, he only won by 3 swing states and combined only a 44,000 vote margin. That is microscopic. He nearly lost last time, even though he won the popular vote by 4.5 points. So you gotta win by 5 to be comfortable if you're the Democrat. That sucks. And Joe Biden should have done something about it while he was president. He didn't do anything because he's an idiot. But anyway, so if he's down by 3, that means he's down by 8. And the CNN polls are the most friendly to him. New York Times has him down by 6. Another poll that came out the other day has him down by 6. That means he's down by 11. That's unrecoverable. And he barely won when he was up by 9. Now he's down by 3. Look, numbers aren't lying. The #1 copium in politics is, the polls are all wrong. It's flippant, it's what everybody says, it's not remotely true. The majority of the polls are enormously accurate. You just don't know politics if you keep saying the polls are wrong. Every once in a while, an odd poll will be off, there'll be an outlier, but the aggregate of the polls are totally correct. Every losing candidate says, the polls are wrong. That's what Romney said, that's what Trump said. And so, and that's now what Biden is saying. It's the constellation of all losers that the polls are wrong.
Now let's talk a little bit about congressional races, because an unpopular Democratic candidate is obviously going to hurt some of the congressional races. And so Enton gets into the data on that, the polling on that. Let's take a look.
But the fact of the matter is, you look at the national polling, the generic congressional ballot choice for US House. Look at this. CNN poll, +2 Republican. Wall Street Journal poll, +3 Republican. Monmouth University poll, +3 Republican. Yeah, Joe Biden may be in slightly worse shape in these particular polls, but the fact is, when Biden's down 4, 5, 6 points in these polls, you can only run so far ahead of Joe Biden. At this particular point, at least in the race for the House, it does seem like Republicans are ahead because Donald Trump is so far ahead.
What's the Senate landscape?
Yeah, what's the Senate landscape? I mean, take a look here. GOP needs just a gain of 1 for control if Trump wins, and they're passing path is extremely clear because their best chance for a pickup opportunity is in West Virginia. That's a very likely GOP win with Joe Manchin retiring. And the best Dem pickup chance, perhaps to reverse that so the GOP doesn't gain a net gain of at least one, is Texas. But that's still a likely GOP win. So the fact is, if Donald Trump wins this election, the race for the Senate, for all intents and purposes in my mind, is over.
But we're the bad guys, right? We're the bad guys for raising alarm and telling the truth about the insane vulnerability of running Biden against Donald Trump. Not just for Biden himself, not just for the executive branch, but obviously for congressional races as well.
So we're gonna give you a sample of a swing state in a second, Wisconsin. But look, I wanna make a distinction between the professionals and citizens. If you're a regular citizen out there and you think the polls are wrong, that's normal. Because you hear it in the media all the time. You're not this isn't your profession. You're a dentist, you're an accountant, you're doing other things, right? But there are professionals whose job is to look at this all the time, and that's part of our job. So when you look at all the polling numbers and all the people who are Harry Enton, Nate Silver, Ezra Klein, myself, all the professionals, Carville, Axelrod, you can just go down the list. All the people who can read numbers and understand what it means are going, it's over. It's over. And they're understating it.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to be polite because they're on TV and they know Biden, right? So if you don't know that, I get it. And I get super angry that they're lying to you. They're giving you false hope. I love hope, but it's gotta be real. Because if it isn't real, you're just gonna wake up on election day miserable when you find out, oh my God, we got clobbered and you had no idea it was coming because these guys keep lying. So CNN is now back into objective reality world. So welcome back, CNN. This is after the debate. Before the debate, they were also in alternate reality about how wonderful Joe Biden is, right? But at least they're back. MSNBC, totally an alternate reality, lying to their audience 24/7. Lawrence O'Donnell, the primetime shows, the morning shows, every show. Oh yeah, Biden is great. No, if anybody criticizes Biden, they're helping Trump. Oh yeah, we're gonna win. Oh yeah, no, polls don't mean anything. Numbers are lies. Yeah, so okay, let's go to Wisconsin. Let's see if this is a lie. So Trump at 44, Biden at 38. He's losing by 6 in Wisconsin.
That's not an important state to win, is it?
Not only is it important, not only is it a swing state, it's the easiest one for the Democrats. That's the first one you got to check off. Okay, obviously we won Wisconsin. If we didn't win Wisconsin, we already got slaughtered. That's, again, if you're a plumber, you don't know that, no problem. But everybody in politics knows if you didn't win Wisconsin, it's already over, okay? He's down by 6. So, you say, well, it might be tough times, the brand has an issue. No, Joe Biden has an issue because Tammy Baldwin is winning in Wisconsin. She's up 6. Joe Biden is 12 points behind, let's be honest, just the mediocre, normal, generic Democratic senator in Wisconsin. The people in Wisconsin want to vote for a Democrat, but they're not going to if it's Joe Biden. The polling shows you that crystal clear. So when you see people pretending that the polling doesn't matter or that Joe Biden's not that far behind, you have to understand that they're lying to you. Do not believe them. So look, what would have been great is putting pressure on Biden to drop out of the race. And I wish we had a tsunami of Democratic voters asking to do that. We have a petition, we tried, but
he doesn't care about the voters, Cenk. You would need Democratic leadership. That's the only thing that would push him out.
That's true, Anna, but I want to make this clear, okay, because it's important. A lot of the congressmen and senators went back to their home state. They were already back home, right? And they talked to constituents. And a lot of the constituents, and Baldwin says this about Wisconsin, are going, what are we doing? Get him out, get him out, get him out. Okay, but tons of their constituents, especially for the ones that said, like Jerry Nadler, that it shouldn't be Biden. Oh, they got a wave of blue MAGA cult coming at them going, you're betraying us, you're pro-Trump, I'm never gonna vote for you again, you're never gonna get another dollar, how dare you, I want you to lie to me, I want you to lie to me. And so that's why Nadler and the other congressmen panicked. They're like, oh my God, and Joe Scarborough even said it. He said people are shouting out of their cars at me saying, oh my God, you betrayed Biden. So they scurried back to audience capture and the small cult capture. Cool. So that's why the voters did make a difference, unfortunately in the wrong direction, because the cults are more energized than the non-cults. That's why Trump's MAGA cult is overwhelming the rest of the Republican Party. And now we have blue MAGA, and they're so crazed in their love of leadership and they do not want to hear the truth. So they're yelling at the top of their lungs at anyone who dares to tell them the truth. So now Blue MAGA's partly at this moment, it could change, and I hope it does change, because they're not the majority of the party. But that super loud cult minority in the Democratic Party is driving this car, and they're driving it right into a brick wall.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.